There is no transportation measure in Fresno County without an inclusive and transparent public process that welcomes everyone. Voting yes on this item today demonstrates disregard for the greater common good, disdain for authentic participatory public engagement, and disrespect to your constituents who have been here and who came before you and asked you and presented a framework for a process that would unify our community. We were here exactly a year ago today. Not today, but this month, we presented the Moving Forward Together framework, and I think it's really important to note, and I want to say for the public record, the reason why you have decided not to move forward with that framework, as we have been informed by your staff, is that our proposal recommended and called for a community advisory vote on the expenditure plan, which would have allowed your constituents, taxpayers in Fresno County, to help shape the plan, make a recommendation before it went to every city council, the county board of supervisors, this body as a whole, and the transportation authority before you approved and sent it to the ballot. We were informed that that was a non-starter for you, that a community advisory vote would not be happening, and that's why the Moving Forward Together is not on the table and was taken off the table without a public discussion. Taxpayers, and as a taxpayer and voter in Fresno County myself, you're no longer willing to write blank checks without accountability and without taxpayers having a real seat at the table. Do not vote to waste $1.75 million today without you, and I'll say that because your staff and your team has been unable to bring forward a plan or a vision or a scope of work beyond the 3 bullets, unless there's something that's been agreed to behind closed doors that are on your agenda item today. I wouldn't issue $1.75 million without a clear plan or a scope of work or a vision of what I'm gonna get from from the $1.75 million. You have the time to do it right today. You still have time to do things differently. I agree, Mayor Martinez, we need to get to work. We want a measure to exist in Fresno County. It could do a lot of good, and we need it, and leverage state and federal funding. But doing this in a way that doesn't give community a real seat at the table is the recipe that you're going to repeat and cook up again as you did in 2022, and we're gonna end up with no measure. Thank you. Sir.
Thank you. My name is Mark Scott. I'm a semi-retired city manager, but I'm not appearing in that capacity here today. I'm representing the Central Valley Community Foundation. As Mr. Phipps was kind enough to do, passed out the copy of the letter we submitted. The foundation, some of you may recall, the foundation did not support the last measure, the city initiative. But wants very badly to see it pass this time. This county cannot afford to have this fail. These measures are harder to pass the second time than they are the first, because there's some memory from the public. We need to do it right in order to get there. It was, to me, it was so symbolic, the discussion that we had right before this. The mayor, you're all mayors, the mayor from Mendota made the comment that it's no longer 2006, it's now 2024. Yeah, exactly. We're at the end of a 20-year planning period. We're looking at another 20-year planning period. It's only right and fair for the community to do a full-scale community facilitated vision setting process at the start of that period of time. It's only right. You want to know where you're going before you come up with a plan of how to get there. The idea of doing project lists, expenditure plans, eventually that makes lots of sense, but it doesn't make sense to start there. You need to start with vision. You need to start with what it is that the community wants, and then you narrow it down to what you can afford out of that measure. And you come up with strategies for what you're gonna do with the things that you couldn't afford under the measure. And you saw some of that happening tonight. where the issue got hard enough that all of a sudden we had to figure out where else we're gonna find some money. That's what happens when you do community vision setting. You find out what you can afford, you find out what you can't afford, and you can start working on strategies, but you gotta start with vision. We have no problem with the idea of starting, this effort, and we understand the 1.75 million is probably, if anything, maybe low compared to what it'll take to get this measured through. But we do object to the idea of issuing the RFPs before you have actually had discussion of the scope of work that goes along with those RFPs. We think it's just logical, as Veronica said, before you put that kind of money into something, that you look to see what it is you're gonna do with it. We believe that the first thing that needs to happen is to get that facilitation team together to do that community visioning as at the beginning of the process. Let's get our community behind this, because we're gonna need that in order to move this forward. So thank you for the opportunity to address you. I can assure you that the foundation is 100% committed to moving forward on this. We've been working very closely with some of the other groups that are represented here tonight. The Transportation for All group, we're working closely with them. We're gonna continue to closely work with them. And we believe we can all working together bring this measure in. Thank you very much.